Welcome to a playoff preview edition of Begley's Mailbag. I'm Ian Begley, SNY's NBA insider, and I'm answering your questions about the Knicks-Cavs series and whatever else is on your mind. We're going to start here with NYK Jake. Jake wants to know, is Tibbs going to run the same nine-man rotation? I think he will. Look, I think in the weeks leading up to the end of the regular season, I think it was up in the air. I know the coaching staff, some members of the coaching staff were kind of still in decision-making mode in terms of who would be in, who would be out of the playoff rotation. But Obi Toppin, I think, solidified his spot in terms of the way he's played end of the regular season, scoring the ball well, in transition, shooting it pretty well. I think the question there is rebounding, and if Julius Randle can't go, if Randle can't go and the Obi's rebounding becomes an issue, then I don't know, maybe Jericho Sims gets some time, or even if Julius Randle can go and Obi, the rebounding hurts the Knicks, maybe Jericho Sims is an option there, because Tom Thibodeau loved the Jericho Sims, Isaiah Hartenstein, big man lineup that they played in the middle of the season. But I really think, without question, Obi Toppin solidified his spot going into the postseason, so I wouldn't expect Tom Thibodeau to mess with his nine-man rotation at all. We've got one from Neymar Sacone 5. Neymar wants to know, do you think Knicks win in games 6 or 7 in a 6 or 7 game series and make the second round? This is such a close matchup to me. It's almost a coin flip. You know, I think a lot of it depends on Julius Randle's health. We're sitting here taping on Tuesday morning. We should know more throughout the week about the health of Randle's ankle. We know that he's been out of the walking boot, and we saw him walking around a little bit Sunday at Madison Square Garden. I thought he had a slight limp, but it's hard to tell with the speed at which he was walking. You know, I think if Julius Randle is somehow 100% for game one, he creates a matchup problem for Cleveland. I know Evan Mobley is a fantastic defender, but Randle, when he's single covered, he finds a way to disrupt the opponent's defense. We've seen it all year. And if he's doubled, he's more often than not made the right pass. So I think it really hinges on the health of Julius Randle, and if he can have that burst with that twisted ankle. Now, I don't want to be a cop-out here and not give you a prediction. My head and my gut say Cleveland wins in 7. But I do think Randle comes back, and he's a good version of himself. So I will go with Knicks in 6, because if it goes to 7 in Cleveland, I think the Knicks would have a hard time winning on the road. Got one from the Knicks Recap. The Knicks Recap wants to know, you feel RJ Barrett is the key to winning the series against the Cavs? If not, which player do you think is? Thank you for the question, Knicks Recap. It was great to be on your show a few weeks ago. I think RJ, yeah, you could lean that way. Karis LeVert, RJ, I think is going to be a good matchup. One place that I look, though, is Quentin Grimes, particularly the way he was shooting the ball at the end of the regular season. He shot it really well, and I'm sure some of it is a result of getting more shots with some of the Knicks stars out. But if he can maintain that shooting clip at a lower number of attempts, assuming Julius Randle comes back, that's huge for the Knicks offense. And then obviously what Grimes can do defensively to bother Donovan Mitchell, to bother Darius Garland on those pick and rolls that the Cavs run very far from the basket. I mean, that's going to be a key for this Knicks team too. So I look at Quentin Grimes as one of the big X factors. You know, it's his first playoff experience, so you know there's going to be a level of I guess not nerves, but adjustment there for Grimes. But the way he's been playing, especially towards the end of the year and for most of the year on the defensive end, I think he's going into the playoffs in a great rhythm. He's one player I'm looking at as an X factor. Next, we've got one from Ralph. Seems that the Knicks centers are taller, which makes me believe we win the rebounding game and the series. Do you disagree? I think that this is a very important part of this series, because if you look at the way Cleveland has rebounded the ball, really for a large part of the second half of the season, they've struggled with rebounding. And I think with the Knicks, most of the year, they've been really strong, particularly Mitchell Robinson, offensive rebounding and getting second chance shots. They've been really good in that area. Isaiah Hartenstein as well. And you also add Josh Hart into the mix. Hart, probably the best rebounding guard in the NBA. So to me, yeah, up front with Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, and others like that, if they can develop or create second chance opportunities for their teammates like they had in the regular season, and it seems like they'll be able to because Cleveland has been vulnerable with defensive rebounding. You know, that is where I think the Knicks could have a distinct advantage. And if they get there and they get those second chance points, I think they'll have success in this series. Here we've got one from C1SCO Bastello. And Bastello wants to know, do you think Tom Thibodeau is having fun coaching this team more than any other team? And Tom Thibodeau's never going to admit publicly that he is having fun coaching a team. He's going to tell you he's locked in on whatever's in front of him that day, and his process, just like the rest of the Knicks players' process, is day by day, focused on daily improvement. But I have to think Tom Thibodeau is having a lot of fun coaching this team just because of the way this season went, right? Like, you go back to early in the year, Knicks start 10-13. They have a bad loss at home to the Dallas Mavericks. Said it a lot. I think the Knicks were a few losses away from significant organizational change, whether it was Tom Thibodeau or the front office. I think that there was something that it just wasn't good at that point, and I think there was change coming if it continued that way. And then Thibodeau, his back's against the wall, and he goes to a 9-man rotation, removing some veterans, Evan Fournier and Derrick Rose, who you can't tell the story of Tom Thibodeau without talking about Derrick Rose. So I'm sure that was not an easy decision. And then the Knicks take off from there. That 9-man rotation works really well, and they've been really good ever since. And I think Thibodeau, you know, if he's being honest, he probably takes a lot of pride in that decision and the way it turned the team around. So I would think this is one of his best years as a head coach if you were to rank them. He's not going to do it. Maybe he'll do it after he retires, and we'll find out the real answer then. We got a query here from Fritz Handles. Fritz wants to know, has Derrick Rose contemplated his future? Is re-signing a possible outcome? I don't know where Derrick Rose stands in terms of his future, and I don't want to speculate on it, but you know, I do know that Knicks owner James Dolan has a high amount of respect for Derrick Rose, holds him in high regard. I don't know if that would factor into anything with regards to Rose's future. But, you know, he's got that team option for next year. I don't know. I would be surprised if the Knicks picked it up unless it was salary filler as part of a trade. But I wouldn't rule out the idea of him re-signing. And I don't think he's done, just based on the way he played 2 years ago, the level he played at. He was phenomenal. And then, you know, last year, season cut short by ankle surgery, and he came back this year. And I still think that he can help a team. So if I'm guessing that he's not done, and he would sign either here or with another team, maybe the Bulls, maybe the Milwaukee Bucks. But yeah, I don't think he's done yet. That'll do it for this edition of Begley's Mailbag on SNY.TV. But keep an eye out for us asking for questions on social media, because we'll be doing it again very soon.